Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. And we will return our foray into World Class Championship Wrestling here. We close out October 27th of 1984. Hope to have the entire month or year of 84 done within the next day or two. But anyway, a highlight package and previous encore match opens the beginning of this program. There are only 4 first-run segments. We'll highlight those. Bill Irwin, Chief Jules Strongbow, always want to call him Chief J, was on one show with both of those gentlemen in the late 90s. I think it was 98. Just a heck of a experience. However, they did not like talking to anybody that they did not think belonged. So you had to be vetted by somebody in the locker room before they'd even say more than hi to you. Anyway, in any event, of course, the Long Riders, Scott and Bill Irwin, were your tag team champions here. We see really basic moves from Strongbow, and we then go through things here, and a big chop there, and ultimately we see Strongbow make his way through with a series of chops. Irwin tries to, get an advantage as he needs to, but cannot get much done there. Kind of cuts him off a little bit. Irwin, side headlocks and very basic maneuvers. A lot of weight carrying for Strongbow, who's not opposed to having to fight from underneath, but it's clear that that's the role he finds himself in for sure. And ultimately, shoulder tackle there, and kind of the kickoff by Irwin. Irwin, not the best match, actually. I mean, what you're really looking at is a very slow, basic, for lack of a better term, wrestling school match. It's getting a reaction because they're over as people. But if this was a, let's say, an opening match with two guys that the fans didn't know, yeah, probably not gonna hold them that well. Several shots by Strongbow against Irwin, and hits him with probably 10 shots in a row before a final chop that knocks him down. Then we see, the age-old wishbone groin spot. Strongbow tries to get a leg submission out of a grapevine, and then a modified half figure four, for lack of better terminology. Then we kind of go forward that way, and Irwin uses a goofy move. His leg's been worked on for a good bit of time, and then he actually uses his leg as an offensive weapon. This is a mistake. Strongbow able to withstand some more punishment. Big miss of a big splash by Irwin off the top rope, and inside cradle attempted by Strongbow. We'll only get to 2 count out of that. At this point in the match, I remember thinking as I watched it through that there was a good chance of a time limit draw, and referee backs Strongbow off, and we see some low blows and the like. The kind of continue of the back off by the referee when we see that. Lots of talk on the outside, and the kind of a non-finish to this as we move to the next match on the program. But before that, we get to Iceman King Parsons and Kevin Von Erich both discussing Chris Adams still weeks later. Iceman basically does a really good job of feeling like and expressing that his feelings were hurt. Feels betrayed, feels caught off guard by the actions of Chris Adams. Um, Whereas Kevin's a little more angry. Obviously, he was more physically assaulted. Iceman says he's going to get even, whereas Kevin kind of talks about this being about justice for him. We do move into an Iceman Kings Parsons matchup next. Killer Khan, the adversary of the moment. They talk about the Long Riders laying out. The Pretty Young Things laying out Buck Zumhoff to be out for a while. That is a announcement made by Iceman King Parsons. Parsons has been made to look strong the entire time that he's been in world class. And what's interesting to me, he's probably the strongest babyface they have, outside of Von Erich. And that I don't know if I would say it shocked me, but it certainly surprised me a little. Suffice to say that we actually see a tie-up here that lasts a lot longer than your average tie-up. And when I say tie-up, I mean, holds of a submission-style nature. And then very, very basic breakdown with Killer Khan using chokes and the ropes and all of that. And then, kind of a block off. Parsons does not want to take a complete backward step. He keeps coming. One thing I like about King Parsons is even as a babyface, he is an aggressor in many of his match scenarios. And the sidekick by by Khan, and shot to the midsection by Khan into the throat as well. But Parsons doesn't take a backward step here. Takes a shot at the throat of and a hard shot by Khan, and the referee tries to back him off a little bit. There is a disqualification here, and due to the illegal maneuvers, this makes Skandar Akbar upset, aggravated. Interesting that we never really did see, now that I'm thinking of it, we never really did see the, finish to the wars between Hart and Akbar. So we do see the six-man tag champ and the Texas champion, Gino Hernandez and Jake Roberts, against the Von Erichs here. They're given, I don't know, about eight or so minutes, probably 7 by the time they close the program. Mike and Kevin are your Von Erichs of the day. Nicola Roberts, a.k.a. Lady Andrea, still on the outside of the ring. They actually have about 7 minutes by the time they start, maybe 5 actual in-ring minutes. So what's interesting is everybody complains about Raw and SmackDown and whatever having short main events. But the fact of the matter is the main events in the territory days often were not that much longer than what we have on TV now. The difference is we were more invested in the characters back then. Roberts, tries to be dominant of Mike early, and Mike outwits him. And the easiest way to tell Mike and Kevin apart is the fact that Kevin never wears shoes. I actually see an interesting thing, worth going out of your way to see. Head Scissors Takeover, some may call it a Huracan Rana, or a Frankensteiner by Kevin here in 1984 on Jake Roberts. Stella Mae French makes her way out from ringside or somewhere back there, trying to get at Nicola Roberts, and that does not bode well for her. Security takes her away. Adams tries to square things off. Kevin in ring and hits a sunset flip. Doesn't get all he wants out of that. Tag off to Jake Roberts with little under 4 minutes left. Roberts with a body slam, and I don't know. I expected more out of the Roberts and Von Erich chemistry, and while none of it's bad, I do see a difference in Jake Roberts when he's in there with anyone else in world class, and when he's in there with the Von Erichs. Maybe the Von Erichs were not terrible supporters of Jake, but there's something I find there's something missing with the Von Erichs and Jake Roberts chemistry. Maybe others feel differently. Anyway, monkey flip out of the corner by Kevin. Kevin goes to the top rope quickly with that high cross body. Oddly enough, bad timing. We do see Gino take the fall. Kevin Von Erich pins Gino Hernandez, but Gino's actually falling on his back before the crossbody even touches him. So the Von Erichs are victorious. Post-match brawl to be continued, and we move into November of 1984 here in World Class. We'll be back with more right after this.